Hey folks, Ray from loveyourrv.com, and today I'm going to have a review for you of the Jackery portable power station, the Explorer 500 model, which is a 500 watt power box. Basically it's a lithium battery in there, and it can output up to 500 watts through its inverter. It also has various power plugs like USB and a 12 volt output plugs. So let's take that box apart and see what's in there. This is going to be very similar to another product I reviewed a while back from Lensun. Theirs was a high 500 watt power station as well, so I'll be able to compare a bit to that unit. See how this one performs and compares. During this video I'm going to be referencing back to this Lensun power box that I reviewed probably about 5 or 6 months ago. So if you want to go back and check that out, I'll leave a link in the description. So it's very comparable in its output ratings. Both are around the 500 watt hour area. This one's a little lighter, comes in at 10 pounds. This one comes in at 13 pounds. So I just thought I'd show you that, so when I say my Lensun box, you'll have an idea what it looks like. So it's nicely packaged. There's your owner's manual. A little bit of advertisement of their social media presence and how to get a hold of them. Looks like 24-month limited warranty, lifetime technical support, and another little piece of advertising about the warranty. Receive order satisfied, yes. Leave feedback or review on Amazon. Share with your friends. No, contact hello@jackery.com. Okay. What else we got in here? A little package. With our cables and stuff. It's nice that you got a little pouch package to carry them in. There's the beast in there. Let's pull her apart, see what it looks like. There we go. Oh, it's quite a slick looking unit. Plastic case feels pretty sturdy. Has a pretty sturdy feel to it. I like the handle. Easy to grip, carry around. It's like a lunch pail. What do we get with it? So you get your owner's manual. Very simple owner's manual. Just a few pages to it. This is to plug in to charge, which is nice. You can plug that into the input there and charge it off your vehicle's 12 volt power socket, which is good. That's one thing that was missing in that Lensun that I reviewed that I really would have wanted, because when you're driving along from campground to campground, it's nice to be able to charge it as you go. And then we have the AC power supply as well. Same deal. Goes into the input here. You can charge it up by plugging it into a regular household outlet when you're on shore power, or into your inverter in your RV. Let's see what we got here for outputs. So we have one plug for AC, and it's 110 volt, 500 watts. And we've got 3 plugs for USB, 5 volt, 2.4 amp. And we have 3 different plugs for 12 volt, 2 12 volt plugs, and also the cigarette lighter style socket. Fits one of those dealies. A lot of stuff gets powered off of that. For instance, air compressors and stuff, like to use that a lot. And up here we have a display. Turn that on, and it shows the battery charging. When it came, it said first thing to do was charge it up, so I charged it up there. And that display also has a light inside. Let's see what we have on this side here. We got an LED flashlight dealie. Looks like a grill. Nothing on the back. Nothing on this side, another grill. Take a look at the bottom here. And we've got nice rubber feet. Keep it secure. And we've got some of the specs here. Go in and see what we say. Jackery Explorer 500. So lithium ion, it's got a 24 amp hour pack, but at 21.6 volts. So a lot of them have 12 volt packs or 11.2. But it says 518.4 watt hours. That's the pack's capacity. So that's pretty good. A lot of power in there. AC input 12 to 30 volt at 3.5 amp, 100 watt max. So I guess the maximum solar panel you can put on that is 100 watts. I didn't get the solar panel. He said something about not being able to ship it to Canada. They do have their own proprietary solar panel for it, but I imagine you can put in other types of solar panels as well. I do have a 100 watts Renogy solar panel, so I'll do a test with that. AC output 110 volts, 4.54 amps, 500 watts, or a 1000 watt surge on the inverter, so it can handle a quick spike, but it'll run 500 continuous. 2 times DC outputs 12 volts at 7 amps, and the car port 12 volts at 10 amps. So each of these can handle 7 amps, and this can handle 10. I wonder if they can do them all at the same time. I'll have to test that. 3 times USB, that's your USB. Recharging temperature 0 to 40 Celsius. Operating temperature 10 to 40 Celsius. Okay. Wow, it's not a bad little box. So maybe we'll get into doing some tests here. First test I think I'll do is give it a max capacity test. So I'm going to plug in a heater into this inverter output and see how much it can handle. Okay, when I turn that AC button on to turn that plug on, I hear a fan turn on right away, even though I don't have anything plugged in. Which right away I don't really like that. It'd be nice if it was temperature controlled and only came on if it needed it to, because it's kind of annoying if you have a fan that always has to run. Even say if I use this and I was only using 50 watts of it, shouldn't really need a fan to run. Check the USB, DC. Okay, well, let's do that test first, and then we'll give a test to some of the DC, and we'll also do a charging test. See how long it takes for this to charge up using the battery pack, or the battery charger that plugs in. I imagine that's the fastest way, and maybe we'll do some tests with a solar panel as well. First thing I'm going to do is try a high draw test on the AC inverter. Now it's quoted as 500 watts, can handle spikes up to 1000 watts. So I'm going to use this little heater from a test I did before with another one of these little boxes. I was able to run this heater for about 45 minutes off of a similar capacity battery, so it'll be a good test, see if this thing can do the same. So we'll turn that on. We're at 100% charge. Got the heater running. There we go, it's starting to climb up now and give a watts indication. And there we go, right around the 500, just slightly below. Should be a good test for its max capacity on that built-in AC inverter. And down here I got a little timer going, so you can see how long this box will run. Okay, let's check in on this. We're at 46% and pretty close to 28 minutes, so that's going good as expected. Fan's running in the box. Box isn't getting too hot. Seems to be handling the load no problem. Right around 480 watts. Okay, we'll let her go. Okay, we're getting pretty close to the end. Up here it says 2%. Still about 480, 490 watts. We're right around 52 minutes. So that's pretty good. So far the box has beat out the Lensun box I had. Although this battery did state it had a little better capacity. I think this one is 518 point something watt hours. But still, that's doing pretty good. So we'll just see what happens when it shuts down. See if it gives us a warning or just shuts off. It's at 1% right now. Another thing I liked versus the Lensun gauge is this thing came down pretty even all the way down, reporting about its life cycle. But the Lensun one, there goes, quit. Okay, stop her right there. Yeah, the Lensun one was all over the place. It was not very accurate. So 54, 34. Yeah, that's right in spec. So I'm impressed with that. It's got pretty good max output. So now that it's totally exhausted, maybe we'll do a test of how long it takes to fully charge off of its AC input plug. There we go. Plug her in. Okay, well the screen's showing 10%, showing, I'm not sure what that little symbol is. The input's showing 0 watts. You think it would measure something. Maybe because I depleted the box so far. It's taken time to get its act together. So this AC charger lists the output as 25.2 volts at 3.5 amps. So that would be comparable at 12 or 13 volts, about a 7 amp charge. So should take a while to charge this up. So I'll mark the time now and come back and let you know how many hours it takes to fully charge using the AC shore power plug-in. Okay, I got the manual out and I figured out what this little symbol is. It says high and low temperature alarm. Jackery can power your devices at temperatures ranging from 0 to 40 C. If your working temperature is outside this range, the Explorer 500 may stop working. I think that's why it's not starting to charge. It should have a wattage right there. When I charged it up, it had a wattage when I first got it. So now it's gone, by the looks of it, it's gone into high temperature shutdown. So what I'm going to do is turn on the inverter and maybe it'll run that fan through and cool it down. We'll have to see, because I don't think it's charging up. It really shouldn't. You shouldn't have to have a problem just using it like that. It was doing its rated output, and it's not hot in here at all. Okay, so that worked. That cooled it down. Now you see it's showing 81 watts there, and that little high temperature symbol's gone. So basically, when it was in that mode, it would still output, but it wouldn't start its charging sequence. So there must be a protection shutdown if it gets too hot inside the box. For safety reasons, it won't start charging. So that could be a pain if you're trying to use this in a really hot environment. You may not get it charging if it's too hot. Okay, so we'll continue what I was doing there and let her charge up. I'll mark the time now and come back when it's fully charged. Okay, well, we just hit 100% charged and pretty well bang on the 7.5 hours, maybe a few minutes less than what the manual said. So 7.5 hours to take it from right flat to full charge using the AC adapter. Let's do a quick test of the flashlight. It's pretty good, not too bad, but my other one blows it away. Oops. Boom. See the difference? Much brighter on this one, so it's just okay. The only cool feature it has is if you hold it, it goes to an SOS, which is kind of neat. I find this charger arrangement a bit of a negative. It's all external. It's proprietary charger. You got all this extra wiring to carry around. It would have been nice if it was built in somehow. Reason they probably didn't is it creates a lot of heat as well. Just checking there, you can see 134.9 was my highest point on there. So that little brick, 136. So it gets pretty hot. So you'd have to watch that if you're charging this. Don't put it underneath some blankets or something, because parts of it almost get too hot to hold your hand on. So I just thought I'd point that out. Okay guys, let's do a DC output test. This section here that outputs DC. Let's turn it on here. So I'm going to use the car port here. They call it the car port, the cigarette lighter socket. The other two, it's kind of disappointed I didn't get anything to plug into that as far as an adapter or anything. They're kind of a strange size, you know, so the manual doesn't really have anything about it. What's in the box: Jackery car charger cable, AC cable. There you go. But up here you've got car port, which is the cigarette lighter socket, but then it's got DC output 2 times 12 volt at 7 amps, but they don't really give you anything to plug in, not much information. You're just kind of left in the wind to try to figure it out yourself, I assume, unless there's some type of optional accessory that you're supposed to buy. So right now they're kind of useless. I tried a kind of a pretty standard one that comes with a lot of equipment, and it doesn't fit. There's also the question of polarity. I imagine the center is positive and the outside of the ring is negative. If someone's trying to do their own, does that have reverse polarity protection? I'm not sure. I'm not going to try it because I don't want to ruin it. But that's a negative, just leaving those there. But besides that, I can test the car port, and it says it should have a 10 amp output. And also says times 2 DC output plus car port, total 120 watts. So I'm going to use for a test, I have a Viair air compressor. It does a max of 23 amps, but when it's unloaded, it runs right around 10 amps. So it should be a good test. Set up my voltage meter and my amp meter just to collect that sort of thing, and we'll see what the wattage reads out there. So let's plug her in here. That. I'll turn this on. See what the wattage shows up as. So it's showing right around 81 watts, 99 watts. Let's see what we got here. 8.3 amps, 12.28 volts. So now if I plug this, I can increase the amperage. We'll see if it can handle it. There, see, when I went past, it shut down. So it has sort of its own internal shutdown at 120 watts on the DC there, which is kind of cool. It's a neat protection. We'll check kind of what amperage we get. Back on. Watch the voltage when I do that. Drops and comes back up. So that's pretty cool, actually. I like that it has that type of automatic protection there, where it just will cut off once it hits its rated amount, and then even come back on right away. So I'll give it thumbs up for that, thumbs down for those ports there. Next, I'm going to test the DC charging input here, and we're going to try a solar panel on it. Like I said, I didn't get their solar panel, so I'm going to use a 100 watt, typical 100 watt solar panel. It's a Renergy 100 watt solar panel. I've hooked it into there, showing the voltage right now of 18.81, and the amperage is 3.49, which is in spec to what they have in the manual here. They say for 12 volts, 12 to 30 volt at 3.5 amp, 100 watt max. So it's showing me here that I'm putting 57 watts into it. So this is going to take forever to charge just with a solar panel, and that's one of the downfalls of these little packs, is the charge time on them. You know, if you have a depleted box and you're going to throw a 100 watt panel out, it's going to take you a long time to charge that. So let me look up what they say in their manual for the predicted time. Yeah, they're showing about 16 hours depending on weather. So on a winter day, you know, down in the desert where we go, you're lucky to get 5 hours of solar time. So that's a real problem with these little boxes, depending on your usage. Like if you're just using this for small things like charging your phones and laptops and stuff, and they can go over a course of days and days, and you can have it on charge every day, that's fine. But say you're starting to run bigger loads off of the inverter, like a CPAP machine or a small appliance or something, and you really drain it in a full day, well, you're not going to have the capacity to get that box back charged again for the next day. So you're going to have to wait a day or two if you're just going by solar. And even as I showed, the AC power plug isn't that great. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you're buying one of these solar generators or power boxes, as they call them. I had the same gripe with the Lensun, was the charge time is their big downfall, and I don't know why that's the case. They have a lithium battery in there. Maybe it's got to do with safety or something. So anyway, that seems to be working. It's charging off my panel. Well, let's just do another DC test here and see how much wattage we get if we just plug it into the truck's cigarette lighter in there. Plugged it into my truck's 12 volt power port. We'll just check out what kind of wattage is being put in as a charge wattage. 42. Not very impressive. It's going to take a heck of a long time to charge up. You know, the battery's rated at 518 watt hours, I think. So yeah, that's going to take a long time, probably anywhere from 12 to 15 hours at that rate. So not good. I've cobbled together a little DC max charge test. So I have my solar panel that puts out about 18 volts, and I've put it in series with this box here that's a 12.3 volt. I've managed to get right around the 30 volt max input, and you can see on here, let's zoom in here, I'm getting 96 watts, 96 watts. So the max wattage input is 100. So just cobbling that together, I managed to get to show that it can charge a little faster through the DC. I guess you just have to get the right solar panel set up or have the right charger. Now I tried going beyond that 30 volt. I tried 33 volt with a couple batteries, and it wouldn't go, it wouldn't turn on. So there is a safety shutdown. So that's sort of the max, right around 96 watts there, or 100 watts. So that should be able to charge up that battery somewhere in the the 5 to 6 hour range, which is a little bit better than just the single 100 watt panel that was only putting in around 60 watts, and the AC charger, which puts in around 81 watts. Still not great, but better. You just have to make sure you got the right solar panel set up, because if the voltage was too high, then the thing wouldn't turn on. But proof of concept anyway for you guys. Well, since I was going to do some repairs to some audio gear and I had my oscilloscope handy, I thought I'd check to make sure this is a true sine wave inverter in this box, and sure enough, got a nice sine wave, 109.9. Okay, let's put a little load on it with a heater and see if that waveform changes at all. Okay, so we're pulling near the full wattage, 490 watts, and it's staying nice and smooth, so that's good. Okay guys, let's go through my likes and dislikes. We'll start with the likes. First of all, the case is really well built, feels really sturdy. I like the rubber feet on the bottom and the wide stance, makes it very stable, be hard to knock over or fall over. It's really weighted quite nicely. The buttons feel really good, nice positive feel to the buttons. There's very limited controls, but the ones that are there feel like they'll last a long time. I like the display, that it reads out pretty accurately the percentage charge left, and it has the input and output watts, which is a nice touch in real time. Good handle on it, kind of like carrying a case of beer or something around, or a picnic basket. Feels very firm in the hand, won't be dropping it. Feels overall quite robust and well made. I like that it has a good capacity for such a small, like it's 13 pounds and fairly small size, but still packs 518 watt hours into there, so it has a good sized lithium battery. Also has the inverter, the 500 watt inverter, 110 volts, and I proved that it is truly a sine wave inverter. Some of them might say that, but they don't really have a really smooth wave. That one does, and it could, and I did a test with my heater there, and it powered it no problem up to 480 watts. So that's good, and it can handle a quick 1000 watt surge. It's nice that it has so many safety shutdowns, like it did shut down for that high temperature. If I try to draw too much DC, it will shut down. So overall, I think they've designed it really well, kind of made it dummy proof in that way. So yeah, overall, I'm happy with all those things. I think it'd be really good for a person with a small RV that doesn't have too many demanding loads, or a tenter that's just going out for the weekend, or maybe for backup power in your home if the power goes out on you and you just need it for 3 or 4 hours. So that leads me into the dislikes, and it's same as that other Lensun I reviewed. The main dislike I have with these little boxes is their very slow recharge time. Most lithium batteries, like I have a lithium battery for my RV, and it can recharge quite quickly. But these all seem to take, anywhere from 7 to 10, even 12 hours in most applications. I did prove that if you maxed out the DC input, you could get it down to maybe 5 or 6, but it's still a long time if you're the type of person that's using this for heavy loads and you're draining it down in the course of a day. To get it back the next day in and day out, could be a problem. Not too bad if you have light loads and you've got many days that you're draining it and bringing it back. But people shouldn't buy this thinking they can use that max wattage and then have it back within a few hours. Also, I noticed it's rated only for 500, just greater than 500 life cycles of the battery. A lot of lithium batteries these days are up thousands of life cycles, so I thought that was kind of odd. The external power supply, I showed that it runs quite hot. If you get put under a blanket or something, it could be a problem getting overheated. Or if you're running it on a modified sine wave inverter, it can cause those little brick power supplies to heat up. And also that temperature shut down when I did the test of the full wattage on the inverter, where I drew it all the way down and it went into a temperature shutdown, and I couldn't actually get it to start charging until it cooled down. So it's not that cold where I am. So if I was in a really hot desert environment, I could have a problem where it won't start charging. And also I had a quibble with these outlets here. There wasn't very much information on them at all, and there wasn't any cables. I would have liked to have a cable that would plug into those and then have a bunch of optional inputs for that, all the different sizes or something like that. Right now it's just kind of left up to the end user to figure out what the heck to do with those. Another thing I didn't like is when you turn the AC on, the fans automatically come on. I wish they would come on only when needed. So if they had a temperature sensor on there, the fan would only come on during heavier loads. So I find the fan noise annoying. So in conclusion, overall I give the Jackery Explorer 500 a thumbs up if you're a type of person that doesn't have too many large loads, like if you're using it mainly to charge your phone or a laptop, and every once in a while briefly use the inverter. It'd be good for that. Or if you're a weekend camper, or if you're just using it for home backup. But if you're thinking of this going to be day in and day out as your power box, and you're looking to be plugging in appliances and things to it, I think you would be disappointed. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Ray from loveyourrv.com. Happy trails, everyone. Cheers.